really good at blackjack. Everything else you can forget it. But I never would do more than like $50 because that was all I could stomach to lose. You know what I mean? Oh yeah. Yeah, make sure you don't break nothing.
Yeah. I gotta go.
So after that scrimmage Friday, one of the boys from it's like one of the guys' dads had the band, and Kane and his buddies have been trying. They had a little band last year, and they play around. But Kane plays the guitar, man. He gets shredded. And Stanley's like, "Hey, you can come play with me in my band." And he's like, "Yeah, I'd like to do that." He goes, "Just don't break that hand." And you can look at Kane's face and tell he had never thought about it. And he was just like, "Holy crap, I could break my hand." And I'm like, I'd like to die. So, but we get paid to be here till then. Specifically, you get probably. You shut the light off on the way out.
You had a good run.
Thanks for doing it. I looked at the agenda and it looks south. Like there's a lot of stuff on there. It's public comment. What you been doing, man? I ain't seen you since last time. Wow.
He smelled really good for like 4 hours.
Brandon, you behaving yourself?
Always.
How's the family?
Good.
Yeah. Y'all playing any travel ball?
I don't think you are. Family vacation. Also, the boat plane.
Yeah. Yeah, my boy started that too.
Travel golf.
He's in middle school, right?
Yeah, JV, and then there's another school.
I thought he was a year behind Kane. What is it, 7th or 8th grade?
The middle one's in 6th grade.
Nine. Okay. Okay.
Tried, I was like, I ain't played football.
Me too.
You want baseball, I guess, yeah.
I did play last year.
I played. I played middle linebacker. I had an opportunity to walk on to U of L to play. My parents were smarter than I was to send you to spend all money. And I showed I told my boy, like, when you're being blocked, you're typically blocked away from the ball. You just can't. I tried to show him some things yesterday. I showed him the helmet slap. I think I like he had the helmet on. When I hit him, he kind of went down. He's like, whoa. I think my boy's gonna be Seinfeld. He likes the idea of football, and he's hitting more this year than last year. He saw him. He just don't have that killer.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna tell you, that's a sport.
It's a violent sport. And if you're going to be really good, you have to be really violent.
Divide your time. Unless you're in a school spot, speed, that type of you really got to, you're guys 2 or 3 years old.
And a year makes a difference when you're 16 to 18.
So a lot of them play, 7th grade, play more. And then they play it off.
Well, it's like King's always been good at baseball, and as a freshman, he started with the varsity. And I think he thinks he can do that. Well, I'm like, well, that's a 2 different worlds.
I mean, you've seen the rookie in the NFL.
Yeah, so you don't get killed on the way up.
It's just, you gotta grow into that man strength.
Yeah.
They're big boys.
He's getting there, man. He's hit his changed late last year through the summer, man. He's got a little muscle on him. He's picking up. So I think next year will be his year. He's gonna do it.
Nice story.
I get asked to speak about it. I'll tell you who it was. He's a fellow that he used to go to me. I reckon. Mark Cooper. I think we need to know who gave you.
I did not.
Mr. Coy. Hey, hello, sir.
He had some stuff for his ear. Maybe I'm.
Okay.
I need to pull up an agenda, right?
I'd like to call to order the regular scheduled meeting of the Rocky Mountain City Council, 7:14. This time, I'd like to ask everybody to please stand a moment, observe a moment of prayer. Thank you. This time, I'd like to ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilmember Knight.
Here.
Blackwell.
Here.
Robertson.
Here.
TJ Walker.
Here.
Dougherty.
Here.
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 DeBarge Walker.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum. At this time, I'd like a motion to approve the minutes. Consideration of regular scheduled city council meetings, which was held on May 11th. I'd like a motion to approve the minutes as written.
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Harris. Is there a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Blackwell. Is there a need for discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. This time, I'd like to turn the meeting, this time I'd like to ask if there are any additions or deletions to the agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Doddridge.
I would request that we move item 8A on the consent agenda to the full agenda item, so we have discussion regarding the consideration of the resolution approving the settlement of the FY 2025-2026 tax dues and collected.
Okay. Any other requests for additions or deletions to the agenda? Councilman Walker.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I would like to add that we add a emergency utility assistance fund to the agenda tonight.
Any other additions or deletions to the agenda? What I have is two items. We're going to drop item 8A from the consent agenda. I guess we'll make that item 7B, I suppose. And then we'll add at the end of the meeting a discussion or a motion of discussion, I guess, Councilman, about utility emergency funding.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll make that item 14. All right, 14. Is there a need for discussion? I'm sorry, is there a motion to do this? I need a motion.
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman TJ Walker. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilman, thank you. Second by Councilman Robertson. Is there a need for discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. All opposed, like sign. All right, we have removed item 8A from the consent agenda. We will discuss that after petitions received from the public. We will add the emergency utility fund to item 14 of the agenda. This time, I will turn the meeting over to our city manager, Bill Dean.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone. First, I would like to thank our residents, businesses, and wholesale customers for their cooperation during the city's mandatory Stage 1 water conservation measures. As many of you know, effective August 1st, the city reduced its conservation measures from mandatory Stage 1 to voluntary Stage 2, following improved water supply conditions resulting from recent rainfall. Although mandatory restrictions have been lifted, voluntary conservation remains important. Continued responsible water use helps protect our water resources, reduces the treatment and pumping costs, and helps ensure adequate reserves during future periods of high demand or drought. We appreciate the community's cooperation and will continue to monitor the reservoir levels, weather conditions, and system demand. Next, I would encourage residents to participate in North Carolina's 2026 Fall Literacy, which runs from September 12th through September 26th. This statewide effort provides an opportunity for individuals, neighborhoods, civic groups, and businesses to work together to keep our community clean and beautiful. I encourage everyone to consider volunteering and doing their part to help make Rocky Mount an even better place to live, work, and visit. Finally, I would like to remind families that at Storyland, a trip through childhood favorites continues at the Imperial for the Arts and Sciences through September 6th. This interactive exhibit brings classic children's books to life with hands-on activities that encourage reading, imagination, and learning. If you haven't had the opportunity to visit, I encourage you to take advantage of this wonderful experience before the exhibit concludes. That's all I have this evening, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Does anybody have any questions or comments for our man? Seeing none, we'll move on to petitions to be received from the public. This is an opportunity for public comment. We thank you for coming to the City Council tonight to share your views, and we value all citizen input. Speaker comments are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes during the public comment period, and at the conclusion of 3 minutes, each speaker shall leave the podium. Comments must be directed to the full board, not to an individual board member or staff member. Although the board is interested in your comments, speakers should not expect any comments, action, or deliberation from the board on any issue raised during the public comment period. In the board's discretion, it may refer issues to the appropriate city officials or staff for further investigation. If an organized group is present to speak on a common issue, please designate one person to present the group's comment, which shall be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes. This time, I'd like to invite Dorothy Cook to the podium.
Good evening. My name is Dorothy Cook. I came to speak about the utilities. I stood here April 13, 2026, and spoke about the utilities issues and the fact that it was an elderly man that had died in the early 2000s because his utilities were disconnected. And I would like to give my greatest condolences to the Swan family members and for their loss because of lack of utilities and trying to survive. But we have a lot of people that are actually dead, but they get alive because they can't afford to pay these utility bills. We need this city of Rocky Mount utilities to no longer be municipally governed within themselves, so you can make your own rules, break your own rules, and then the people that suffering from those rules are the ones that have no say. You tell us we can come up here and speak freely, but what happens? Another death. And dead people can't pay utility bills. So who's going to pay the Swans family debt? It's going to be written off, or whatever the case may be anyhow, or somebody else going to be passed down, like the Sheriff Harris Indian nuclear plant investment was for the young man, or the elderly man back in the early 2000s when he died. Because he didn't have oxygen. He was on oxygen and they turned his utilities off, and he died. That's what torture. And when we was told by the Utilities Commission that you had no jurisdiction because this utilities company was governed within itself, so they could make their own rules, break their own rules, and whatever they decided what goes and how sorry they was, didn't bring him back. And I'm guaranteed it's not going to bring the Swan family back. And what's going to happen next? And we also know there was a policy in place that the city of Rocky Mount had, because I seen it with my own eyes, that said that because the person's utilities not been cut off because of lack of payment, that the city of Rocky Mount was not accountable for that bill. But it wasn't his debt. It was debt that was owed from the Sheriff Harris Energy Nuclear Plant investment that went belly up, that was passed down to the customers, that we didn't even know was passed down to us until we did research. And enough is enough. Y'all need to stop it. People don't need to die in order to survive here in Rocky Mount. All this nice stuff that y'all say that we have, whatever the case may be, however it may be done, it's not benefiting to all people. It's benefiting to some. You need to stop it. The evil needs to be stopped. If you're going to do something, you need to have something in place. And I'm glad that you mentioned about the reserve plan or whatever fund that you're going to put in place for people that have utilities. But the Swan family would still be alive if it was there. If somebody would have listened back on April 13, 2026, a whole lot of people wouldn't be in the hardship that they are. Why would it take for somebody to have to die? Nobody cared 20-something years ago. And the majority on the city council was not black. in 1999 when Hurricane Florida came. So we're not dealing with color. The color we're gonna deal with is green. Green and green. And it's wrong.
Thank you, Ms. Cook. I'd like to invite Sharon Cade, podium.
I'm really glad that I'm following the last person featured here because the color is green. It's not brown, it's not white, it's not Asian, it's not anything. But green is mostly what we're talking about. But when we're here, it's the community. You know, and like I said before, I don't care what color you are, how old you are, you know, what sex you are. I don't care about any of that. We're just people in the community. It really trickles down. I don't really think you see what is really happening in the community. So I would encourage you to look at past meetings, as I have been looking at them on YouTube. See how many people are on the phone or just, you know, this type of thing. Just listen and hear. Okay, just hear us. The other thing that I wanted to say, I did want to know something about the write-offs because I'm still getting back to that $48,000 and that we have to have an answer for the slavery piece. Well, I went to the Mahogany Bookstore in National Harbor trying to find the answer to why slavery was in America. Well, you know, it didn't start in America. It's been everywhere. It's not just African Americans. I mean,
Is this going to be necessary? I mean, I'll let you proceed. You have your 3 minutes, but this feels a little out there.
Well,
I'll give you
only
a minute.
because, okay, only because when something was mentioned, slavery comes up, white supremacy comes up, and I don't think that's appropriate either. That's going in the wrong direction, but nobody says anything. It's okay, unless you're up here speaking. So thank you for listening, and please hear. Thank you.
Let's invite Robert. Is it Lane? H. Lane, Robert H. Lane. Yeah.
Good evening. Thanks for the opportunity to address you. As a taxpayer and voter, I would appreciate your undivided attention during my 3 minutes. That means not looking at your phones. I got mine, but I'm using it for a timer. I was born and raised in Rocky Mount, and starting in 1954. I've been a small business owner for 40 years. I've always thought of this city with pride. It's not that way anymore. We're having a lot of problems, and we're not getting them solved. Isn't it a shame that citizens of Rocky Mount had to take an opportunity like that concerns? And when we tell you what we got, we don't get an answer. I send emails, I don't get an answer. Business owner in the city, property owner in the city, I don't get answers. Why is that? I mean, all of you ran for election, so you should took it upon yourself to answer the people's questions. That's all you got to do. You registered to run for that office. Now you're not fulfilling your duties. You're taking our city from a $80 million surplus, almost to bankruptcy. Almost to bankruptcy. A lot of you folks up there as business owners or bankers or lawyers or whatever, you knew better than that. You knew that you could ask for a statement and it would come your way. You could have stopped the process at some point and said, that's it. I want it. That's all it is to it. 40 years. I never missed a profit and loss statement. You get up here and it messes up on you, don't it? The one thing that I do want to do, and I want each and every one of you to hear, I want to ask for your resignations. Each one of you. None of you are above the other. If there's any shame, you should have it in the way you handle our business.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
White Plunge, this is a business meeting. I do appreciate the fact that you plan, but let's please keep it, at a low floor. I'd like to invite, Nehemiah Smith to the podium.
On the dead, suffocating heat of a southern summer. And perhaps carbon monoxide is the culprit, but not without complicity. Let us be entirely clear about what has happened here. When you disconnect a human being's electricity in the middle of a deadly heat wave, you are not engaging in administrative enforcement. You are issuing a sentence. You are declaring that citizens' right to draw breath is contingent upon a financial transaction. When did a balance sheet become more important than a pulse? It is the peculiar madness of our time when we hide behind systems to excuse our own inhumanity. We are told that it is an automatic policy, a routine disconnection, an administrative necessity dictated by financial protocol. When did we start trading an algorithm for common sense? Algorithms don't know what it means to gasp for air in a darkened, sweltering room. An algorithm has no conscience. But the men who designed these rules, who enforce them, and who sit in comfortable air-conditioned council chambers while their neighbors perish, they do have consciences, whether they choose to examine them or not. The measure of any society, of any municipality, is not found in the elegance of its accounting or the rigidity of its collections. It is found in how it treats the most vulnerable amongst us when the elements turn hostile. When was human dignity replaced by moral collapse? We cannot allow the leaders of this city to wash their hands in the basin of procedure and claim innocence. Blood leaves a stain that no city charter can erase. If we have reached a point where the collection of a debt takes precedence over the preservation of a human life, then we have surrendered our claim to being a civilized community.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to invite an applicant to the podium.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Manager, Council, and others present. My name is Napolin O'Reilly, and I have come before the City Council to say thank you for giving me some water the Saturday for Love Day of the city of Rocky Mount. And I'm here to emphasize love. Love is very important. In the Bible, 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 1 says, if I or you speak in the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I and you are only a resounding gong or a clinging cymbal. Then, near the end, it tells us, Now, in verse 13. And now, these three remain. Faith. We have faith in you, and we pray you have faith in the community. Hope. We hope that you'll do the right thing. And we want you to hope that we'll do the right thing. And love. I love y'all. I don't like some of the things you do, but I love you. And it says, but the greatest of these is love. Now that I have been educated at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, I have learned that there is another element that is so important, and it is called respect. And it has to be a mutual respect. You can't forget about who's sitting down here. We definitely can't forget about who's sitting up there. We have to have a sense of mutual respect. Thank you. Was that mine or yours? Oh, that's in the back. And I'd like to thank Mr. Brenton Bent for giving the clearance for us to have the water at the water park at Sunset Park for Love Day. And I was so happy yesterday when I drove back from, I drove around the city of Rocky Mount, and the children were out there on Sunday afternoon, just jumping and happy at the water park. That made my heart feel so good, and I felt good about my city council because y'all helped Mr. Brent to get that water turned on. And I just love Mr. Tim Farmer and his efforts to keep Meadowbrook clean and to pick up, the stuff, because sometimes folks, they sweep this stuff and top right on the side of the street. But Mr. Farmer's on top of it. He's trying to get the debris cleaned up in our city. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to ask Pace Winstead to the podium.
There you go.
Mayor, members of the City Council, and fellow citizens, I stand before you tonight as a disappointed resident of Rocky Mount. I see before me inept leaders that I expect to act with due diligence, confidence, accountability, and respect for the people they serve. This council has presided over a cascade of failures that have damaged the public trust. The results have been layoff, utility, and property tax increases. Yet this body offers little genuine contrition, clear acceptance of collective responsibility. The public still waits for a full, humble accounting and credible plan to prevent reoccurrence. The handling of utility compounds the problem. Billing confusion left thousands of residents standing when collection resumed. Distressed households saw their power cut just weeks ago. A family died after the power was disconnected as they returned for a generator. This is the human cost decisions made and unmade in this chamber. Recently, a citizen who raised concern about council members' unpaid bill was met with attacks on their character and their families. This is not leadership, this is a tactic, and it's got to stop. Most troubling is the rhetoric that comes from this chamber. When citizens raise legitimate concerns about finances, bills, or governance, some responses have labeled them white supremacists or spoken strong winds blowing that threaten control of the city. These statements directed to the public appear less like honest debate and more like attempts to intimidate and silence dissent, framing accountability as racial hostility divides this community. And an old corrosive tactic, the true racism in this conversation, the willingness to weaponize race to deflect scrutiny and protect power rather than to serve every resident equally. The city of Rocky Mount, we are not your enemy. We are the people who pay the bills, suffer the rate hikes, and live with the consequences of decisions made here. I urge the council to stop deflection accept responsibility without excuses, hold itself to the same standards it applies, and return the hard work of competent, transparent, race-neutral governance. Rocky Mount deserves leaders who protect the public's resources and respect the public's right to speak without fear of being branded.
Thanks, Dan. I'd like to invite Earl Jones to the podium.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Earl Jones here, Ward 6. Tonight I stand at this podium with questions that need to be answered by this council. First question, whose idea was it to halt the acceptance of personal checks during a period of time when you demanded immediate payment by your customers? You claim it was due to an uptick in returned checks. Still, why would a manager reduce customer payment options at a time like this? Makes no sense. You cut off options for people who don't bounce checks. Who made that decision? Second question, when utility accounts are written off, does the city generate 1099s in the amount of the write-offs and mail them to those customers? Customers are then required by law to file those write-off amounts as ordinary income on their federal and state income taxes. It seems to me that issuance of a 1099 would serve to indicate the city's official stance as to the forgiveness of the debt. Did the city send 2 1099s for 2 years of write-offs totaling $47,704 to the councilman? Last time I checked, the IRS does not recognize councilman privilege as an excuse for tax evasion. And by the way, the other councilman was mistaken in the last meeting. When an account is billed in error, the receivable is cleared by issuance of a credit memo, not a write-off. Google credit memos meaning and read it. That's been since 1979, when I was in accounting 1 class at Southwest EdCap. My final question tonight revolves around the past 10 days, dark days in our city's history. 3 people and 3 dogs tragically lost their lives in Ward 6. We all know what happened. Let's pray it doesn't happen again this week. Let me remind you, your financial mismanagement started all of this. One amongst you still owes and did nothing to make it right. The people that lost their lives were trying to make it right. So tell me, where is the justice? And where were and where are you? Yet another reason why the trust is gone.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Antoinette Butler to the podium.
Good afternoon, Mayor, General Manager, City Councilmen. I just want to stop and pray. Father God, in the name of Jesus, Lord, we thank you and we bless you on today. But Lord, we need you. Our city is in a turmoil. And we know that it's going to take you and only you putting us back together again. Father God, let us not forget love is what we need now more than anything. And we need not to forget the Swan family. Because there are faces that family members will never see again. There are smiles that they'll never get to enjoy again. And Father God, in the name of Jesus, we can pass judgment. But Lord, if we have not compassion and we shut up our mouths for one another, then we have not love. So Father God, in the name of Jesus, let us not miss the opportunity to make it right. So give us what we need, God, as citizens and as leaders of this city, to lead and to direct and speak what you say to speak, not with our own agenda, but you, God. In Jesus' name, amen. I stand here today because I believe in paying your bills. But I also know what it was like to sit on the other side when we was here in this building and paying our bills, and sit in that corner and not have the money to pay my bills and have to make arrangements. And I thank God for being blessed and being able to take that from being able to pay my bills to having my bills taken out of my account. But somebody didn't get the opportunity that I had. But they made, from what I understand, an effort to try to do something. And I think, as I have stated before many times, we have got to get the communication level right here with the city. There is a lack of communication. I'm glad that there are funds hopefully being put in place. And I know I gotta go, my time is up, and I don't want to miss it. But we also need to get some detectives in these houses.
Thank you, Ms. Keller.
So that
Thank
we
you.
can have it again.
I'd like to invite Butch Dancy to the podium.
Good evening. Most Butch next to the second. I wanted the last meeting because I was in South Carolina. I was interviewing the sheriff of Hitchcock County as he swore me in as the state president of the Sheriff Association. But trust me, I looked at the meeting up to 5:30. Hitchcock morning, after 3 days, disconnect, reconnect fee, and pay past due. That's what I'm doing. And some of Rocky Mount, over here, they're from Hitchcock morning. Time clock is not paid by 5 p.m. The next day you pay a disconnect and past due. Now because of the work I do in the community, I had donors to donate, and I brought $5,000 over Wednesday and another $1,000 on Thursday. Before people benefited, I had a criteria. They left it up to me. They asked me not know anybody. I didn't really know anybody offhand, so I made some calls. And I don't know who got it. Don't care who got it. As long as they went by the criteria that I gave the folks down at the business center. I had never been in the business center. Went there 2 days. I've been coming to this meeting longer than any council. Anybody on this podium. I hate I missed Jeff Rose at the last meeting because we used to joke about we belong to here. Now, what has been going on in Rocky Mount? I've been documenting, paying for it out of my pocket with my video equipment, my time. So I tell anybody about where Rocky Mount came from. Just documented. In my videos, the city videos, and see that lady writing up there? In the minutes. So I want to hear the noise. Folks talking about I don't live in Rocky Mount. I spent all my money where I spent. I dropped my clothes off at clean today with Sanford filled up. That's about $89. Eat before I leave from over here because I've been over here for 5 o'clock. I spent all my money in Rocky Mount. I got family and friends here and enemies. Everybody benefit. He was the enemy for what I did. I don't know who the people who got the money, but but race matters. I'm a black man, and I know whatever happened in the black community, if we do that, everybody benefits. I'm not going to be apologetic for being black, and I want you to be apologetic for being white or whatever race. And my last thing, when folks take responsibility for their own actions, the better off they will be. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Regina Townsend to the podium.
Now we go home.
I come today because I say that could have been me. That could have been me. That could have been anybody, any one of us. But I ask for humility from council. Maybe sometimes I detect that you get frustrated with each other because you showed it the last time that you were questioned about the heat index in the house. The heat index in the house, if it's 90 outside, you have nothing. It's 100 inside the house. I don't care if it's a 3-room house to a 5-bedroom house. That heat gets trapped in that house and it's hot. When the time you get up, it's hot in that. And if you remember going to grandma's house, at nighttime, she turned off everything. The house was pitch blacked off. There wasn't a fan running. And it was hot in the house. And if she raised the window by chance, you got some air. So, those houses are hot. And I don't know what else to say. It's just beyond me. How sometimes, I hate to say it, but sometimes, you ever looked at the movie called The Invitation of Life? Sometimes I get that from you, that you forget only when you choose to do that. That you go back and look at the movie, you understand what I'm saying when I say it's an Invitation of Life. It's an old movie, so you know what kind of movies came out of my house, and I did, and I love to sit back here the other week. I almost thought that I was watching That's the demeanor that I got. All of it, And sometimes and we're human. We have to shoot back sometimes. We have to come back, protect ourselves. I really don't know what to say about Balfour or whatever that may be. Anyway, I'm confused right now because I don't see any humility for each other. You just call it out. My grandmother used to say, they're going to do what they want to do anyway. But we're here. Listen to us. I mean, it got to be something. It got to be some kind of consideration. There's a lot of people, I talk to a lot of people that don't have air. They don't have utilities. They don't have them right about now. They use a fan, no fan, because they have no utilities. Some don't use air conditioners because the power is so high. So you're sitting in there with no air, it's a hot house.
Thank you, ma'am. I'd like to invite Dale Esterline to the podium.
How you doing, folks? First of all, my condolences to the family that were forced into a corner and basically had no way out other than doing what they did.
and it cost them their lives. There's a lot of people that didn't die in that same incident, but they lost all their food in the refrigerator. That's a factor too. You know, your refrigerator or freezer the food going bad. That's hard for somebody. But and the second thing I was wondering about is churches. Somebody was bragging the other day, we had 300 churches in Rocky Mount of all denominations. And there's even Muslim mosques out there. Nobody stepped forward to assist people, to help. They'll give them a church fan. You know, anybody here got a church fan tonight? No. Because it's nice and air conditioning here. So you guys are so isolated from it. So I was going to ask about that, and then all the nonprofits you had. And I know you're going to, well, I'll hold this one to the end. But I'm noticing also the flock cameras in Rocky Mount. There's one by City Lake now. There's one on Sunset Avenue right by my house. And I was wondering if they're being paid like the 70-30 split with the other ones about speeding and coming through the stoplight or running the stoplight. Is Rocky Mount benefiting from those? Anybody know? And whatever you two guys were laughing about while ago to each other snickering, I don't know what that's all about. But this brings me to some saying that Shakespeare said, the evil that men do lives long after you, and the good is oft entered into your grave. So everybody knows the evil, where it's coming from, but it's time for some of you guys to move on. If you've been here over 10 years in your position and you've profited strongly, either resign, step aside, let somebody younger take the thing. I'm looking into running. If anybody else is looking into running, I'm on Facebook. You can give me a call. But the other thing I was asking about is the OIC. Okay. There's places like OIC, you have no nonprofits, my sister's house, all these places. None of them stepped up and helped any of these people. Like the lady said before, they would be alive today. You know, you cut my power off. I live on a street that the guy that works for the company lives down the road from me, and his wife causes him enough stress that he gets that power right back on. So I've been lucky, but it ain't always that way, you know. So y'all try to either step aside and let somebody run Rocky Mount that wants to run Rocky Mount and wants Rocky Mount to prosper. I'm still on that thing about downtown. It blows my mind that you guys aren't doing anything. You got the picture downstairs in the lobby of the projected thing. How about building another city?
Thank you, Mr. Echelon. Veronica Jennings to the podium.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council members, and city staff. My name is Veronica Jennings, and I live in Ward 7. First, I want to express my condolences to the family who died tragically last week after their electricity was cut off by the city. There's a big difference between the letter of the law and policy and the spirit of law. This city administration appears to follow the heavy-handed letter of the law rather than the spirit of the law, which offers grace, compassion, decency, and uses discretion. I'm here tonight because the city council already has a mechanism that you can use to fix this problem with your utility service policy. It's outdated, 17 years. This thing was first written in 2012. You have a utility service review board that you established, whose responsibility is to take care of updating this and making sure that it has the best practices. Where is it? Where is that utility service review board? It's in your statute. It's supposed to be doing that. It's supposed to be educating the community. It's also supposed to be the last stop for people to challenge what the city does. My thing tonight
is to ask this council to mandate. It's time for y'all to take action and step up to the plate and be leaders. Mandate that this board, working with the utility billing and collections and the finance director and the city council, draft a new policy that puts into it fairness, compassion, accountability, clear, transparent rules of procedure. Draft this policy within 60 days. October 1 deadline. This reviewed policy can be reviewed by the council of the whole, something it can do to bring this community together and be adopted by this city council after a public hearing. Enough of this hand wringing. It's time for leadership to stand up. We can make change that works for all. We need courage, willpower, and collaboration to fix a troubled city department that threatens the very lives of its citizens. Take action now and direct this utility review board to do its job. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Sheila Smallbrook to the podium.
Good evening. I moved back to this area back in 2019. Tired to take the vet. I like working out. I lived here before back in the 90s. I retired after 26 and a half years. I wanted to come back here to relax and enjoy retirement. Since I've been living here with the utilities, December was the first time I had a big problem with it. I'm getting 3 electric bills within 15 days apart. The first one was dated December the 15th, that was $175. December the 18th, $465. And then December the 30th, it was $1,200. That's three bills. I live on a fixed income as other people do. We can't afford all of that. And then to the point where I had a medical form from the VA sent in that I'm on insulin and I have to have my insulin refrigerated. How many other handicapped people lights were turned off along with mine when I came to try to make a payment plan? The lady said, you need $1,100 or we cut you off Monday. I said, ma'am, I don't have $1,100. I said, that's not a payment plan. That's more like extortion. You're extorting the citizens. It's not fair. I pay my taxes here just like anybody else. I live on fixed income. I have my own personal bills to pay. That didn't fit in my budget. Not 3 light bills. And 1 month, that was only it was in a 15-day grace period. It wasn't even a 30-day. I got to cut off that following. I went to my doctor in Greenville at the VA Center, and I let my social worker and doctor know what was going on, what I was facing. And because they asked me to give them the medical form that I got from Public Works, I took it down there. Of course, it's not on a regular form. It's on the back of a pamphlet. So when my social worker looked at it, she was like, where's the form? I said, it's on the other side of the pamphlet. That's weird. I've never seen nothing like it. So she had my doctor fill it out. They sent it back down here. And 2 days later, I came home Friday evening. My lights were off. Everything in my freezer, refrigerator, food I had to throw away. My insulin I had to throw away. Because it's been in heat. And then we facing with winter is right around the corner. Shouldn't no man, woman, or child have to live like
Thank you,
this?
Ms. Scarborough. Thank you. I'd like to invite, to that conversation. I'd like to invite Frank Peterson to the podium.
Hey, Mr. Man, how you doing?
Good, that you are.
Gentlemen, Mr. Vance, it's good to be here. I hadn't been here the last couple of ones. I had some things I had to do, but I'm glad to be here tonight. I really am glad to be here tonight. And, every once in a while, me being the great guy that I am, my wife will come to me and say, Frank, I trust you. And I know we might be going through whatever we're going through, but I trust you. It makes me feel 10 feet tall. I want to say to you guys, City Manager, all of y'all, I know I can't direct my words to you, personally. So when I say this, I'm going to say it in a way that I hope you recognize in your brain that I'm talking directly to you. And this is what I'm saying to you. I trust you. I trust that the people elected who they wanted to sit where you all are sitting. And I trust that every problem, every hard situation, every knot, every doubt, every financial situation, this utility situation, I trust y'all to work it out. And I want you to know that. The second thing I want to say is that I read social media. I see everything. I see the pictures. I see the videos. I see the bullets. I see all the stuff that people say about y'all. I see how you guys have to sit through intense provocation sometimes. And people are saying things. Some of it is misinformation. Some of it is disinformation. Some of it is halfway what we know to be true. But I look at you guys. I read your pages. I see what you say. I believe you. I trust you. And this is what I'm going to say. I'm going to ask the city to turn the temperature down. Stop listening to people that are trying to work you into a frenzy about city leadership. City leadership are the men and the women that sit at the gates of the city. They are the ones that know exactly what's going on. They have a panoramic view of what's really happening. We have to trust their insight about what they're doing. And the last thing I'll say is this right here. Sometimes it's easy to tell you what's wrong. But it's harder for people to come and tell you what's right and to bring you solutions. And what we need are solutions. I think I've heard the mayor of the LG. That's me. I gotta go.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Anderson. I'd like to invite Becky Robertson to the podium.
Good evening. Good evening, Mayor, council members, and everyone here tonight. My name is Eki Asemota Robertson, and I am excited to invite the community to the second annual Joy of Fashion. It's happening August 22nd, which is in about 2 weeks, from 4 to 8 p.m. on Howard Street in downtown Rocky Mount. So thank you all for giving us the permit to get the space. Last year, the Joy of Fashion started as a vision, and we had over 300 people to come out and support. This year, we're coming back even better. We already secured over 25 vendors, local designers, food, games for kids, live DJ, a live band, and the goal is to spread more joy in Rocky Mount, bringing back some positive vibes through all everything that's going on. We will also be honoring some incredible people who continue to make a difference right here in Rocky Mount. Just to name a few, is going to be Ron and Robbie Green, Ron from Boys and Girls Club, and his wife, Robbie Green, who is an executive coach. So this event is about bringing joy, fashion, culture, community, and purpose together. The admission is free, but we are also raising funds for the Euro Queen Center for Housing and Arts in Southeast Rocky Mount. It's going to be a community center we're building to serve through bring about arts, housing, youth programs, wellness, and more. And while we celebrate, I wish we could also have them there. We want to take a moment to honor and remember Tracy, Kenny, and Mahalia, the three beautiful lives our community lost. So last year was the vision. This year we are building on it. So we'd love to see you all August 22nd from 4 to 8 p.m. on Howard Street. Come out, bring your family, support local businesses. There's so much dynamic, creative people here in Rocky Mount, designers here in Rocky Mount. Again, wanting to bring out more joy in Rocky Mount and provide healing with some of the pain that we are experiencing here. So thank you and God bless Rocky Mount.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Nellie Martin to the podium. Nellie Martin. He left. Okay, thank you. Councilman T.J. Walker, if you wish to be recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to get clarity on Miss Sheila. Miss Sheila's Scarborough, I believe it was. I wanted to get clarity on the timeline. Did you receive a notice when you were going to be disconnected?
No, I got home, there was no notice on the front nor back door.
So no letter in the mail.
No letter in the mail.
How did you come to find out that you were going to be disconnected?
I did because I was told by my doctor that they had emailed it for me and given a call. And that was on a Wednesday, and that Friday, when I came home that evening, the lights were off.
Yeah. Anybody else care to be recognized? Councilman Blackwell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll speak up. First of all, I think I know all of us are impacted. Traumatic manner about the lives that were lost. To not be speaks against the people that we are, that we prove ourselves to be. We don't just show up being what we are. We are who we are every day. And for some of us, for all of us are very active in our wards, in our communities, and with our people. And it is hurtful to know that people lost their lives. It is also true that people intentionally did not pay anything on their utilities. And I'm not speaking about this family because I don't know the circumstance. But I know the buzz. And I know what has happened. There are people who have not paid anything. I think we've been said anything on their bills since October, November, December. We told everyone weeks before the cutoff occurred what was going to transpire. We didn't want to do it. But how do you extend services to some and not to all? Related to the accuracy of statements that are made, the perspectives that several people have been operating under, leading to $47,000. This night has been good not to go into detail about how things were happening. I can't speak for him. I can speak in support of him. I don't know him not to pay his debtors. Might be slow, and some of us are slow. You pay for what you got. But I know good and well, and say what you will or say what you may. And this is what I'm saying about respect. You ask us to respect you, but you're not willing to give us respect. And you do this on social media when we were telling you all along the way that poor decisions were being made financially by your management all along the way. Several people came here and said we were being controlling. Give the young people a chance. When we asked for documentation, it was not given. And when it was given, it seems that the books were being cooked. And so when capable management got in place to share accurate information, we shared it with everyone. Everyone could see it. But if you have a perspective that you refuse to trust anything coming out of certain people's mouths, then you don't receive it. I can't change that. But it still doesn't say that it's not true. So what we grapple with is how to be fair to people and work out the best we can with what we have. I remember several people coming down here for several months saying the LGC needs to take over. Remember those calls? When the LGC saw our compassion in collections, they told us, you can't do that any longer. They told us when we have been subsidizing the cost of utilities, that the people need to pay the cost of utilities. So we had to increase the cost of utilities. And we had to enforce those things that were in place and still try to find ways to bend and support and help as best we could. So when we talk about accountability, accountability is something we all share. We all share. And when we speak about truthfulness, let's be truthful about all utility systems. What utility system in North Carolina will keep your power on for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, without payment, without additional charge or cost? show us where we should go.
Sir, can I
The
ask a
system-
question?
No, ma'am.
Well, I have documentation right here where I paid my bill on time.
Council.
For
Councilman Blackwell has the
14
floor.
months.
Please.
I've got documentation from
Please
the
quit
bank.
Please. quit
And my
being-
daughter is the one that did it. She's
I'm
a
sorry,
fraud
ma'am, I'll have to ask
investigator
you to
for the
leave.
bank.
I would love to have your documentation, but I need you to
I'm not
settle
giving
down.
it to you. I'll let you make a copy.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. You don't need to,
We
are we
understand.
done here?
And
Are we done here? That's it.
Mayor, I'm almost done, but I
No,
just,
it's okay. We don't have to escort her out. Are we done though?
I didn't know you had to sign it.
Councilman Blackwell, please.
it's okay, thank you. Now, I'll wrap up. It's just that, it's just that our expectation
No, that's okay.
to be
That's okay.
in call,
They don't care.
to be
But I've
disrespected
got real documentation. And I'm gonna-
while we're working out solutions is not respected. If we're gonna work it out, we work it out together. And that's why it's good to have free and fair elections. And that's why it's good that everybody who's eligible to vote should be able to vote. And you get your chance next October. We get next, if I'm here, because I might be done. That's fine. But you know, that this is the part, I don't react. I'm learning how not to react. I'm learning how to lead in service and in truth. And if you don't like the truth, I can't deal with that. The truth is the truth. The truth is the truth. Psalm 37:1 speaks to me loud and clear. And I have learned not to fret myself. God bless you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you,
Thank you
Councilman.
for what we're going to do.
All right. I'm going to move on with the meeting at this point. We are, if you recall, we removed item 8A off of the consent agenda. So that brings us down to, call it 7B, which is consideration of resolution approving the settlement of the fiscal year 2025-2026 taxes due and collected, authorizes the collector of revenue to collect taxes for the fiscal year commencing July 1st of 2026. The recommendation is that we adopt this resolution. Is there a motion for this, or
So moved.
is there a second? Second made by, what's that, TJ Walker, and Councilman Harris. Is there any discussion? I'll recognize you.
Sure.
Councilman Dodd.
No, the reason I asked to pull this off the consent agenda is, we've gone. First of all, I appreciate this coming on the agenda the way it has. It's not always that we see it on here, and I think it's something that we need. We talk about transparency, and this is transparency. I would like to request from the city manager, that we put this promptly on our, I guess our finance department or something like that, along with what is going to be published in the newspaper. But I also got a question, some of our revenue issues here in the city of Rocky Mount is the lack of collections. Lack of collections of property taxes, and code enforcement and the whole nine yards. And I see assessments are in here that we're gonna, charge off, well, I'm not gonna charge off anything on the assessments, but does that include, say code enforcement and things of that nature, or not?
My understanding is this is just referencing the property tax, both real and personal, not the assessments.
Okay. But I think we need to include for transparency, all of this, because again, I go back to the revenue issue that we have in the city of Rocky Mount. We just don't collect. And that's not good. We talk about fairness. We all have property taxes. We all have to pay our property taxes. For those that don't pay their property taxes, it's not fair to the rest of the citizens who receive the same services as everybody else. So, and I would like for us to look at also, I know Edgecombe County does a pretty good job of going through the collections process, and I think we need to look forward to working with the counties. And I would be curious to know of the property taxes that are owed to the city of Rocky Mount. Is it just the city of Rocky Mount and the counties, or does it include the counties? Do they pay their county taxes? Do they know the counties are gonna go through the collection process? And so, you know, we need to get our hands around this, and we need to, do a better job of collecting. It's 96%, but we need to be at the 98.9%. And we also, we have code enforcement that we don't do. And I know in Ward 5, I represent Ward 5, there's many areas, that need code enforcement, and I beg for code enforcement. Because again, it's not fair for one person to keep up their property and the next person not. And then also when it comes to, even for landlords with their housing, it needs to be enforced that the housing is acceptable for everyone. And I think we've got areas, all over the city that needs to be looked at. And the reason I asked for this to be taken off is so we can have that discussion. And maybe, Mayor Pro Tem, if we could add it to the committee of the whole, so we can talk in detail, I think that is a worthy thing to do.
Thank you, Councilor Daughtry. Is there any other comment?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Councilman Knight.
I just want to say, I disagree with Councilman Daughtry about, our collection rate. You're not doing a good job.
Say that.
You know, don't do that.
I said our collection rate is at 96%. It could be better at 90, 98, 99.
And we don't do a good job. Do you say that?
I don't believe I said that.
Anybody see it?
He's referencing funds, but we'll go.
Okay, I heard something about, well, I heard something about not doing a good job. But I do want to lean into this. You know, we're at a 96% collection rate. Sometimes they fluctuate from 96 to 98. And you hear our citizens even tonight saying fixed income, they, you know, can't pay utility bills, can't this, can't that. And you look at Edgecombe County and Nash County, it's trailing behind Edgecombe as a tier 1 county. Look at what people are paying and making in salaries and the struggle that people have to pay both city and county, which really we don't get anything from the county. And so I think we're doing the best that we can. And the staff that we have, with limited staff and limited technology, are doing the best that they can. When we have different departments that create bills that's not centralized in the building collection until it's time to collect. So forgive me if you didn't mean that. What I thought you said that we were not doing a good job, that's what I wanted to comment on. But at a 96%, in the economy where we are and where we living today, I think we're doing the best that we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other comment? I have a motion. I have a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item 8, the consent agenda. I would like a motion to adopt the resolutions as indicated, acknowledge the receipt of the petition, approve the sole source purchase as recommended, authorizing the purchasing division to issue a PO and execute a bid document in accordance with the council's award and to approve solicitation of bid. Is there a motion? Motion made by Councilman Blackwell, seconded by Councilman Harris. Is there a need for discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. That brings us, item 9. This item has been removed from the agenda not be held due to amendments of the application. So we'll move on to number 10. Yes, sir, Councilman TJ Walker. Well, actually, you can't speak to it at all. It's a quasi, it'll be a quasi judicial, item. You're an impacted party, and so, we've just removed it, and we'll have that discussion next week. Item 10. Item 10 is the withdrawal request by Oscar Hernandez, contract purchaser, to rezone 0.2 acres located at 310 Gay Street, North Franklin Street, from I-2 to B5. We need to acknowledge the receipt of the withdrawal of the rezoning request. So I guess really just information session item. Item 11 is consideration of amendment number 2 to the water purchase agreement and amendment to option to purchase agreement with Nash County. And amendment number 2 to the sanitary services service, and amendment to option to purchase agreement with that. This time, I would receive a motion to approve the amendments and authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute on behalf of the city. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Daughtry, seconded by Councilman Harris. Is there a need for discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Okay, item 12 is the consideration of an encroachment agreement between the City of Rocky Mountain and Dillon Supply Building LLC. I'll receive a motion to approve the encroachment agreement and authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute on behalf of the city. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Javaris Walker. Is there a second? Second. Second made by Councilman Blackwell. Is there a need for discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Item 13 is consideration of the second amendment to Downtown Major Investment Center grants with Duke's Properties and Construction LLC for the renovation of the 3-story building at 216 South Washington Street. Our amendment reflects the following: all work must be completed no later than September 1, 2026. Extension up to 3 months can be granted with written permission by the city manager. Any further extension of deadline shall only be approved by city council. Is there a motion to approve the amendment and authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute on behalf of the city? Motion made by Councilman Blackwell. Is there a second? Second. Second made by Councilman Knight. Is there a need for discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I have one question.
Councilman Harris, you recognize?
Yes, Manager Daniels, I think December 1 is the deadline of the 3-month extension. October, November, December,
Yeah, it'll be just I would say 3 months outside of the September 1st. Yes, that'd be correct.
Are we fairly confident the project will be completed within that period of time?
I hate to speak for the developer, but I will say I did meet with the developer last week, and they are very, very close to being complete. They're putting, I think, cabinet tops right now, so I don't think it'll be an issue. I don't think it'll come back to council. I think if anything, it will be within the extension that I could grant within the 3 months if necessary, but I do think that they are very, very close to being completed.
It's good to see a completed project almost to finish.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Any other discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. That brings us to item 14, which is utility emergency fund discussion. I'll recognize you, Councilman TJ Walker.
Mayor, thank you. Initially, I wanted to appropriate funding towards this utility matter. However, I think it would be more effective policy perspective and from a government perspective if I can make a motion that we place more authority on these 300 customers that we have that are delinquent until we can have an update as a council on our policy and where we are with these 300 customers that we have that are delinquent. I think it would be not just the right thing to do, but I think as far as the governing body, it would be better government if we placed a moratorium until we can have further details of the 300. Because I mean, that was the number given us, 1%. And we know if that's increased, if it's not the same. We're also going into a week this week that's going to be 92 degrees and higher every day. I would hate for us to have disconnections this week because that is our policy to do so. And so all I'm asking is tonight, for the sake of us, not getting into heated debates, not even gonna ask for the funding, not even gonna ask for the allocation. Just wanna ask my colleagues tonight, if we can agree to a moratorium until we can come together, whether that's in closed session, we all understand you tonight, have a conversation about what we are, but I think we can more details around these 300 accounts that are delinquent, and to be able to further make better judgment call on them. But that is my ask tonight. I'd like to make that a motion.
So I have this right, there is a motion on the floor to, a moratorium on utility disconnections until policy can be, I guess, future policy or different policy can be agreed upon by city council at some future date.
Because that's gonna, and attorneys, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you and the manager will have to first hear from us about policy and amendments we would like to see. Then you have to do your inner work and to bring back to us before we can make an adjustment on that, correct? That's policy. So,
That's generally how the amendment process works. That's it.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor. Is there a second? Is there a second?
I would like to ask if I could amend that motion and add some funding to the utility fund, if TJ would accept that.
No, I don't want to add funding now because of where we are financially, but I think the greater governance and our power, what we can do as a board, since we financially are trying to get what we got, I don't want to put an extra burden on staff, but where we are as a city, with what's going on in the climate, I think it would be better governance practice for us to just place a moratorium on the disconnections right now until we can have some policy amendments around our power policy.
Thank you, Councilman Walker. And just to be clear, this moratorium is for all disconnections for the 300 on the short list.
300 that are on the short list, because I believe the rest of it, and that's another thing. I mean, we don't have details to know even, where we are or if the other 27,000, 28,000 accounts or households that they have payments or whatever, but I just want to focus on where we are right now without getting into much detail. Because, I personally can't continue to, I'll stop.
Okay. I'd like to call Manager Daniels to give us a data clarification, some color here.
Just a point of clarification. I know there's been stated that there's a 300 number, but I just want to let you all know that that's a moving target. It changes every day, so that number could fluctuate. Just want to make sure you're aware of that. So if you say 300 and then it's like 302, I don't know if anybody left out, if that's the desire. So just know that the number does fluctuate daily based on the weaknesses.
What we call the short list.
I was about to say, man, that's even more reason why we need to wait. We don't have them. Since it's changing, I think we need to just place a moratorium. If we want to place a timeline, we can place a timeline, but I would like for us to have this policy amended before we move forward with disconnections.
Because I have a motion on the floor for moratorium on all utility disconnections so better policy or a different policy can be enacted, impacting those on the short list, which approximates approximately 300 customers today. I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second is made by Councilman Robertson. Is there a need for discussion?
Yes. I have a question.
Okay, I'd like to recognize Councilman Blackwell, then I'll recognize you, Councilman Knight.
Thank you. What's the cost of that? I'm going to ask, first of all, what is the cost of that? And then second of all, I'm going to say that it's very interesting that so many people didn't pay anything. And I've never been here at a time. We've always had utility problems and issues the whole time I've been here. And we went through a number of years relaxing our collections, finding ways to do more case management, instituting and implementing the WARM program, looking for partners and investors to help allay increasing the investment in housing repairs because we knew there was clear disparity where high utility bills were. And they were with older homes in older communities with mostly people of color and elders. So we've been working for 20 years on strengthening that. It's been the last several years that we have backpedaled on proactive policies. That's the fact. Didn't just start that. But the real problem, with the 300 or whatever number, is that it seems that there was encouragement not to pay. And then when people get thousands of dollars worth of bills, and it's not within their bandwidth to be able to negotiate, everybody's in a rock and a hard place. And now to place a moratorium, that we had a moratorium, we didn't do a moratorium. We said, and we said it from here, we were not going to disconnect. We said it. And we did not disconnect. And when we did not disconnect, there were some people who did not pay because we did not disconnect. And so now the concern that I have is if we don't show that we're not serious about collections, especially, just heard another councilman say we're not collecting enough. How do we balance any budget? And who is supposed to pay and who is not supposed to pay? And so I can't support that unless I know we got a very specific time. What are we changing on the policy? What is outdated? And what does need to change? Or are we saying we just need to give people more time to come up with the money? I'm very unclear. It seems very ambiguous to me. And I also feel we're going to roll our problem forward with a bigger bill than what we got now. I'm very concerned about that. Where we have good intentions, but it's not matched with good policy. And I don't know how we can quickly come up with policy and we haven't had a chance to discuss and debate on the spot. I know somebody made a comment about we all like we're frustrated with what's politics. You know what? What body politic doesn't have vigorous conversation and discussion? You're not demanding it of the state house. You're not demanding it of the national house. So you got to give us room to work stuff out here too. So I can't support it without knowing more detailed information. I understand the desire. I understand the concern, and I understand the dilemma. I understand the dilemma. I just don't know if this is the right answer, and I think there needs some conversation.
Thank you, Councilman Blackwell. Councilman Knight, I'll recognize you. I'm sorry.
I was just wondering if you could answer Councilman Blackwell's question about the total again.
Well, 300, let's just say $400, that's $120,000 deferral in the course of a month. I mean, I'll recognize you, Councilman Knight, then Councilman Harris, and would you like to recognize Councilman Aldridge?
I'd be sure about the total.
You like a real number, I got you, all right.
That's my point, to just to your point, I don't think that's what we
Councilman Knight has the floor, and then I can recognize you later.
I just want to say we just come out of a moratorium. We said no disconnect and no cutoff, no cutoff, and no late charge. I just want to take us back for a minute. In 2012, when the policy was written down, that's the time I think, well, I think before that, when Angela Bryant was here, and she was labeled as the utility lady. And we hammered out utility policy. And when the utility collection was downstairs, if people can remember, we had huge signs stating policies, 1 through 10. It was about, I mean, with so many signs up, it was like, it was just overwhelming. And we had additional staff with Gloria Hunter, I believe, with the Warmwood Plan. We came up with the case management. As recently, we had the crisis utility fund, which we no longer have. And so we done all those things. And, you know, I was saying, even when Chief Logic was doing what he was doing, and a lot of people that sitting in this gallery was saying that the state come and the LGC come. It refers to Denise Cotton. And what's that on that Kennedy? And when the auditor came, he told us what we had to do. And the LGC. See, now that's what I'm talking about, Mayor. This gentleman right here, and I'm not losing my cool, right here in that neon green shirt, every meeting have outbursts, and not yet has he been escorted out of here.
Thank you, Councilman. You have the floor. I'll pay greater attention. Please.
Okay. So, and I told you, be careful what you ask for. Don't cut your nose off to spite your face. And so they came in and said, you have to follow the policy. And when you follow the policy, it says you have to pay your full amount plus reconnection fee. So if you haven't paid in 6 months and you owe $3,000, that's what you got to pay to be reconnected according to the policy. That's Dave Bowler. That's what his people came and audited us and came back. It's in the report. Isn't it in the report? So again, I'm saying you just come out with motor pool. And to me, I think we don't have enough information to do that. And I think Ms. Hall hands are pretty much tired because people on social media are saying, oh, now she's not following policies because of something they put on social media. And so now the manager is saying, hey, you must follow policy. Whatever the policies say, you must do. And that's called state auditor, treasurer, and the LGC. Because if they would have come in and taken over, that's exactly what they would have done. It's recorded, as Mr. Dancer said, in the minutes, on the video. It's recorded. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. I recognize you, Councilman Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, Councilman Knight, when I conducted the meeting, several meetings back, when the mayor and pro tem were out, Mr. Jones was escorted out of the chamber. I am very empathetic, have always been empathetic to me. For a month ago, and I know a lot has transpired, I asked the city manager for some documentation and information to help me become more informed. I asked, as of December 31, what were the number of repayments at the end of each month, up through June 30th and now to July 31. I think we as a council members and the public needs to see how many people that we were able to work with in the establishment of repayments. I know a number of Ward 6 constituents who were put on repayment. Mr. Manager, please confirm, I think our policy has a 12-month maximum term. Is that correct?
Don't have it right in front of me, but I think you are correct.
Well, let's say it is for a month. I understand what Councilman Walker is wanting. We need to work with people. So I would like to have some information so that the public knows what efforts staff has done working with people on repayment plan first. And we need to issue a special revision to existing policy calling for maximum terms of up to 24 months or whatever. We can do that. But let's just don't jump out of the gate without knowing more information. Because at the end of the day, we need to make, as you want us to make, the best decisions possible. And information is critical. And I would love, we can meet special call, committee of the whole meeting or whatever next week or end of this week or whatever. Time is of essence. But we need information so we can make the best decision that we possibly can. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Baltrich.
Well, I'll go back to my question that Councilman Blackwell had, and I don't think we can get an answer tonight. But what is the total? I mean, we're in a mess now. We got in a mess financially. We've heard, no doubt about that. But we've got to be fiduciaries of the city. We've got to balance between fairness and policy and running the city as well. And I agree with what Councilman Harris just said. I mean, but how can we make a decision when we don't have the numbers in front of us? I don't see how we can do that. And we need more information. And well, there's a lot I would like to say. I just hope this is not political. Because we're dealing with the city, we're dealing with people's lives. And we've got to make sound decisions. And so without further information, I can't support. I agree with Councilman Harris, time is of essence. We can go into, and I think what two of us can call a special call meeting. I don't know how long it would take for the manager and his staff to come together with some numbers and get together. But I can't see how I can sit here and support this without having further information. And I would ask Councilman Walker and Councilman Robertson, how from fiduciary standpoint can we do this? How can we do this? And what criteria specifics? And I reserve my right to say something else depending on what is responded.
Right. City manager, do you have any idea what you're talking about?
With regard to providing information on how many people currently fall within a certain threshold, we could definitely provide that to you by the next council meeting. With regard to updating or changing a policy, that would require a much lengthy time because we'd have to compare and contrast what we have, find out what the issues are that council specifically wants in the new policy. And number one, we have to make sure that all this stuff passes the legal test.
Councilman Javaris Walker, recognize you.
Pretty much answered my question. We're saying how long it take to get the information. So I guess Councilman Walker, what you're trying to say, can you pause on the cutoffs until we get this information? Or are you I'm trying to understand where you're trying to get.
A moratorium until we have on further information that I think many of you have asked for tonight. And then also until we have an opportunity to review our policy. I think we need to review that as a board together. Because I want to share a couple of things. We're referring to people not paying their bills from October. I heard. As if the people made a choice to receive 3 bills in a month themselves. The audit report that we continue to reflect to reads the cause of utility billing delays in the city of Rocky Mount was unauthorized and undetected modifications to the city's meter reading and billing schedules that occurred in an environment lacking sufficient change management, monitoring, and process controls. But knowing that, and Councilman Black, thank you so much for talking, times have changed. We're dealing with a generation now where the generation of 20 years ago, yes, they would pay their bills because they are traumatized of a system. Or traumatized of a system that was used to oppress them, traumatized of a government that was used to oppress them. And so, yes, their thought is, yes, let me just pay. Yes, I'll pay because I know this system is not and does not have my best interest at hand nor heart. 6 years later, we're dealing with a different generation that says, listen, this system cannot be trusted. This system that has been identified to say this was unauthorized and undetected modifications that came out to create these multiple bills in a month, regardless if it was our energy or not, until I have a firm definition of why I'm getting 3 bills in 1 month, I'm never going to pay it until I get an explanation. And I stand to say I'll do that again. Mm-hmm. Because it doesn't make sense to me for someone to say, and you all may be different, but if someone sends me 3 bills in a month and they have no explanation as to why, but I'm just supposed to pay it because, hey, man, cities, it's their services. Somebody owes me an explanation as a citizen. We never got an explanation, and please, crowd, please don't commentate so that we don't get kicked out, so that we don't lose the point. Because Councilman Dodge, to your point, no, this is not political. And for the number purposes, since we need a number, the number is 1. And that's enough to know tonight we need to put a moratorium on this situation until we can meet and have further detail. Let me just go into this.
And I just want Councilman Walker, Councilman Tavares Walker actually had before asked you for clarification. I can recognize you later. But the question was really what are you trying to achieve? The motion on the floor, so everybody knows, is a moratorium on utility cutoff until a better policy can be determined, or a different policy can be determined for the short list, which we estimate somewhere around 300. There's been a robust conversation about it, and I think that's great. Councilman Tavares Walker, you have the floor. You got the clarification. Is there anything else that you would like to?
That's pretty much it.
Okay, got it. Now, Councilman Larson, did you want to be recognized before I recognize Councilman Walker again?
Councilman Walker.
Councilman Walker, yes, sir.
I want to.
Question's been called. Question's been called, but I'll let you finish that thought.
No problem.
All right, question's been called. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Okay, let's show of hands. All opposed?
Hold on.
All right, moratorium will not be done. So with no other business appearing before the city council tonight, I now adjourn the meeting.
Oh man, I'm scared my legs ain't gonna work.
Yeah, I heard that.
Have a good night.
Oh, you can.
Yeah. They're gonna be in the dog.
You thought that last
I know I got this. I'm trying to get out.
Yes, sir. I know it, man. Mama told me to. Keep this on
Whatever reason, didn't so we find ourselves somewhere around 300.
Mr. Mayor, it was our understanding that you and the city manager were reviewing the billing process here. Can you tell us where that review stands, and do you have any takeaways at this point, any changes you'd like to see made?
You know, something I asked the city manager, as you know, and the council manager, form of government, the manager has pretty close to dictatorial powers. And so he's reviewing the policy. Hopefully he'll bring something to council if he feels like there's a need to change that. So we'll see what happens on that. Okay? That's all I got. Thank you.
Did you have any comment about the comments that were there? There were a few that said, one sentence about that.
Yeah, well, you know, Bill, I answered. I thought the council covered all that pretty well.
He the one got him into this. He really his mouth. Boy, Frank.
What's up, Chief?
I got Pastor Frank Henderson here.
What's going on?
I want to know how you feel about the meeting on tonight.
Good meeting tonight. Very thorough, data-driven, information-driven. A lot of people brought their problems. A lot of people tried to get some solutions. I appreciate the fight in everybody. But as you know, we have a democracy here. Majority gonna rule, and that's what happened tonight. I really love the insight that Councilman Blackwell, Councilman Knight gave, Councilman Harris, and Councilman Daltrich. I appreciate everything. I even appreciate Councilman Walker's effort at trying to help people with these light bills. Everything that was going on. It was a good meeting. I enjoyed it. I'm glad that
they put it to a question. We got everything fixed there. But some people not gonna be happy. But this is the elders or the leaders of the city make a decision. You gotta rock with it.
All right, appreciate it. We'll talk about it later when we do a live, either tomorrow
I can't wait,
or
man.
Wednesday.
I can't
So
wait.
we behind, man.
We behind.
We
Let's
haven't
catch
had
up.
one, so.
Let's catch up, man.
Yeah, we gotta catch up. All right, appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, all right.
They have.
Sorry, I couldn't see you get up, but I always wanted to meet you. If you got a
Hey, how you doing?
Can you put your name and phone number down on the telegram and I'll text you guys? Put it right here. I think you're a reverend.
And,
No, I still get kicked out of blues from have to go find it.
I gotta go look that up.
I think Elvis did one time.
That's Frank Henderson. That's 995-8178. It's Epic, EPIC. Epic Fellowship.
So you're the pastor?
Yes, sir.
I'll just put the pastor. Because I gotta write something up. Do something up. We can try it, but I think he knows people little. No, don't understand how to score.
Yeah, he did.
What's your raise? At some point, we're gonna have to. I think everybody else.
They're gonna work on it. They're gonna go in there and work on it.
Thank you, thank you.
Yes, sir. Take care.
Make sure you got.
No, you won't.
Grace period of 10 to 15 minutes. But with the point I'm making is, what can grandstand do?
Well, I'm ready to shut it down, y'all. But what I don't understand is, the very ones that got them in this didn't pay their bills, but they want to do a moratorium on a moratorium. How do you do a moratorium on a moratorium? That is crazy.
You got people. What the hell are y'all just talking about?
Live. I'm recording, so just go ahead on. I ain't shut down yet, so go ahead on. I'm still recording. I ain't shut down yet.